Hi, Kristine. Thanks for joining us today. We're excited that you are interested in the position of restaurant corporate staff trainer, and we're looking forward to getting to know you a bit better. So, could you please start off by telling us how your coworkers would describe you?
I would say that my coworkers would describe me as the cheerful, funny, and outgoing person. I'm always the one that has a smile on my face, says good morning, good afternoon, says hi to everyone that I pass by. I also think that they would describe me as a very hard worker. I'm very good with working on teams or working on my own, depending on what the situation is. I'm a self motivator and can really make sure that not only me, but I encourage others to put forth their best effort as well.
Please describe your most significant professional failure and how you dealt with it.
I would say that my most significant professional failure would be when I didn't try hard enough at one of the former restaurants that I worked at. My general managers I had been through three general managers, and we were in between two, one that had hired me on and one that came in when my general manager left. And I didn't step up and do what I know I could have done, which was run the restaurant. And I kind of let my staff down. I let myself down, and I also let our corporate office down. And it's something that has kind of eaten at me for a little bit, but I know that it is something that I definitely learned from. I learned that if I would have just swallowed whatever ego that I had and done what was best for the restaurant and for my staff, it would have been a better success and a better transitional period for all involved, and something that my corporate office would have much rather seen than how I handled it, which was very unprofessional, very childlike. I felt that I wasn't being heard, and that the stress of the entire restaurant, which there is a lot, um, could only I could only handle so much, and therefore was really stressed and didn't want to work with someone new because they had a totally different attitude than me and wanted to change everything. And instead of stepping up, I just sat back, kept my mouth shut, and just went about doing the little things that I was scheduled to do rather than step up and be the true leader that I know that I should have been.
What is the most important skill for a worker in the restaurant industry to have, and how would you go about teaching that to them?
I think one of the most important skills that you need when working in the restaurant industry is having patience and working together as a team. A restaurant is a team effort, no matter how you look at it, from the bartenders that make your drinks to the hostesses that take the reservations and seat your guests, to your wait assistants that help clear your table, to the kitchen and the kitchen staff that helps make the food to bring out to your guests. Without some of those other players, you can't really do your job. So teamwork is something definitely that needs to be instilled when working in a restaurant. Also patience. If you don't have patience, you're not going to get too far. Um, you really need to kind of take a breath and make sure that you know what you're getting into, that you understand what the guest wants and not jump to conclusions thinking that you know exactly what they're looking for. They might not even know what they're looking for. So being able to have the patience and also the knowledge to maybe foresee what they want and try to provide that for them before they even ask for it is always something that is an added bonus. But definitely teamwork and patience are two of the things that are two of those skills that you really need when working in the restaurant industry. I would teach these skills by instilling the importance of teamwork and the importance of patience. Teamwork being taught in a way that everyone is on the same page and that there isn't someone that is better than the next person. That you're all there together to help one another out, and that by you helping someone out, they in return will help you out when you need it. And it could be when you least expect it or when you most desperately need it. As far as being able to teach patience, I think that that is something that comes along with time and with the amount of time that you spend in a position and something that you're willing to learn. It is definitely something that can be taught, and by doing simple activities that kind of test your patience but yet see how far you can go, I think really works to expand on that trait and that skill, and it will definitely be something that could be very beneficial to all those in the restaurant.
What is your approach to conflict in the workplace?
My approach to conflict in the workplace, I think, depends on the situation. Sometimes I'm one to try to create some sort of agreement between the two that are having the conflict. Sometimes I'm one that I will just buy in so that I don't have to have the conflict anymore. I think it really depends on the situation. More and more that I'm learning about conflict and conflict resolution, that there are different ways that you can solve conflict and that you don't need to avoid it. It's actually good for you to have conflict, not really horrible conflict, but at least some conflict, because not everyone needs to agree on everything. But I definitely think that conflict in the workplace is not something that is very comforting. It's not something that we like to deal with, whether it's between a customer, a guest, and our staff, between staff and staff, between staff and management, or even between management and management. It's definitely something that needs to be kept in check and done in a healthy way, which I think is something that people need to learn how to do. It's so against us to have that conflict. It's kind of our fight or flight natural instinct that we don't want to have to deal with it and that we want to fight for what we believe in. But I definitely think that there are multiple approaches that can be taken in order to kind of ease the conflict in the workplace.
How do you create a team-oriented environment?
Being able to create a team-oriented environment is something that is very beneficial in the restaurant industry and in multiple industries. And I think being able to create the environment where everyone is equal, I think that definitely helps. If you're a manager going, trying to get the staff to work as a team, all the staff need to be treated equal, no matter how long their seniority is, how long that they've been working there, no matter what position that they are in. When everyone is treated equal and they have a common goal that they want to work for, it makes it a lot easier to have a great team environment. And by having a great team, that is also something that is a very important skill for being in this industry. I also think that being able to create that, by making yourself as a manager kind of back on their level and not trying to be someone that's way overpowering than them, I think also helps when you get to relate to them, get to know them, and get to know something personal about your staff, and that they're not just someone there to serve your guests, but they are actually a person. I think that that definitely helps to create that team-oriented environment and getting the staff together for different activities, different events outside of their normal work night.
Given the time spent traveling and outside of the office in this position, it's critical that the person in this job be able to effectively manage their own workload. Can you describe for us, please, how you organize your work, particularly complex collaborative projects?
One way that I organize my work is because of my learning disability, I have ADD. I have to be very organized, and in order to do that, I have a lot of lists. I have a lot of notes that I take, and everything is always organized. It's color coded depending on its priority. In my calendar, it's hard to tell even what the day is with the things that I have written on it. It's something that has worked well for me probably since about fifth grade. Um, as far as complex and collaborative projects, communication is key, and whether that be on the phone, through email, through video chat, With all of the technology nowadays, it makes it a lot easier to be able to collaborate on projects, even if you aren't in the same room, if you aren't in the same state, or even in the same country. Um, and I think being that I am very well at self motivation, I think that that definitely helps when it comes to working on collaborative projects, being able to get my share done and making sure that I'm checking in with everyone to making sure that everything is coming together the way it should. And really, communication is the big thing.
I see from your resume that you've been outside of the restaurant industry for a while. Could you describe for us what skills in your current position would prepare you to be successful in this one?
Yes, I have been out of the restaurant industry for a while. I've actually been out for about a year. Um, However, everything that I have learned in the restaurants, and including um, everything that I am learning in my current master's degree program, has definitely been able to keep me motivated, keep me abreast as to what is going on as far as training and development, leadership positions in organizations, and still keeping in touch with those that are in the industry. Um, as far as my current position, I don't get the opportunity to use my skills that would be needed for this position. Currently, I am just doing administration work and receptionist work at an advertising agency. I am working with our HR director to see if there's a way that I can start to kind of implement some of the skills that I have been learning, to kind of stay fresh and to see, kind of what works and what doesn't. And she has been very receptive to that. So that's exciting. Um, but I think with the skills that I already had and my passion for what I want to do, I think that's what's going to make me successful in any position that I take.
How would you design and teach training curriculum that takes into account the diverse learning styles of the different people that you would train?
I think by getting to know more about the restaurant that I would be in, whether it be, what kind of restaurant it is, who's going to be working there, is it mainly going to be college students, is it going to be a mix um, of diverse learning styles? I think that would help in the design and teaching of the training curriculum. And knowing that everyone learns a different way, I think being able to incorporate all those different techniques so that each thing that I do teach and train on, that there is still ways that everybody is going to learn something. Um, and by asking questions and really getting in touch with the different learning styles, maybe working more on learning more about, the different learning styles. I'm one that I need to see things and hear things in order for me to understand it. So making sure that I take that into effect when doing my training and designing of my curriculum, I think will be very, very helpful.
If you were an animal, what would you be and why?
If I were an animal, what would I be and why? Um, I think I would be. I think I would be a dog. I know this sounds kind of simple and very common, but I look at it as, maybe I should be more specific, as a hunting dog. There are times when the dog needs to work and perform and be at its finest, and then there are other times where it can sit on the couch with you and roll around on the floor with you and play. And I think that kind of represents me. I know when it's time to work, when it's time to be serious, and then I also know when I can relax and enjoy everything around me. And I think being able to balance those two things and not have one skill or the other, or one trait over the other, I think is very beneficial and makes you a more well-rounded person.
We can only offer you a starting salary of $35,000, but our benefits package includes an affordable health insurance package with a very low deductible, and we'll be able to offer you 1 week of vacation time after your 6 month probation period. You'll also find that this position offers a lot of benefits in terms of scheduling flexibility and an exciting amount of travel. Does that seem like it's in line with your expectations for compensation and benefits?
I feel that that's a really good start as far as the negotiating and discussing the salary. However, I feel that it is slightly lower than what I was expecting. Um, I do realize that it includes the insurance benefit package as well as vacation, and that I would do an exceptional amount of traveling throughout the year, of course with expenses paid and things like that. However, I feel that the base salary for what I would be doing for the multiple clients that I would be working with, I feel that it is not in line exactly with the amount of work and the type of experience that you want your guests and your clients to have. I'm hoping that maybe we can discuss this a little bit more.
Well, Christine, I think those are valid points, and I would propose that we start off your salary at the $40,000 per year mark, which would put you more in the middle of the range for the average salary for this position. I would also propose that we set up a couple performance reviews at the 3 month and 6 month marks, which would build in an opportunity for us to assess how you feel you're coming along in regards to the goals that you have for this position, as well as for the outcomes that we would like to see you achieve. And if we are seeing some satisfactory progress and you're feeling the same way, I think we could build in a couple 5% increases, a 5% increase at the 3 month mark and another one at the 6 month mark, which would give you some additional opportunities to add to your base salary. So I think that that would present the opportunities that you are looking for additional compensation.
I think that that number sounds more realistic to what my expectations were and what I feel that the job entails. I also feel that with the benefits and the travel and the expenses and all that, I think that we've now come to a great compromise in what you were looking for and what I'm looking for and the expectations of both of us. I look forward to coming on board and starting this new position with you, and I think that we'll be able to do great things together, and I can't wait to get started.